Today I'd like to talk about achieving economic and sustainable transportation of SCM materials using specifically intermodal supply chains. Now, the main way of shipping that you'll have in your head at the moment tends to be either bulk ship with big silos, lots of planning, huge volumes, but that isn't particularly practical for SCMs today. A lot of them are moving in smaller quantities. They are on shorter time frames, and we believe that the risk element and the changing economics and local politics is perhaps stopping that slightly. So hopefully this will open things up a bit. The alternative is big bags, and what we want to do is bring something which is a little bit more in the middle. We talked about some mega trends there. From our humble standpoint, we see some changes going on in the markets. Inquiries are coming in all the time now from people looking to move materials, SCMs, slightly longer distances than they ever did before. So this kind of got us thinking about what we could do in this marketplace. Our company is involved primarily in moving around a lot of bulk chemicals, polymers, so adding cementitious materials and cement wasn't such a leap of imagination for us. So things are moving further to market. The trend is very much more to outsourcing. People don't want to get involved in logistics themselves. We are seeing environmental impacts of transportation, and we have to remember that transporting things and moving things around creates a carbon footprint, and this is real for cement companies as well as any other companies. So if they can look at their transportation strategies, then we can actually help reduce that carbon footprint. So again, in troubled times, we see reduced investment in fixed capital, as a lot of these large cement companies have stretched themselves in buying a lot of other cement companies, so their debt ratio is not as they would like it, and also certainly increasing costs of labour right across the world. So these are some of the trends that we've definitely noticed. Very quickly, looking at intermodal supply chains versus other ways of doing things. The top line you'll see there is really, on this side, is the capital investment. And if you look at that top one, if you're looking at bulk shipping, big volume silos, just dedicated equipment costs a lot of money to actually put in place. It takes a lot of planning and huge volumes for it to actually work. Intermodality is essentially breaking things up into smaller chunks, filling things at source. We're talking about containers and tank containers here. So once they're filled, you lock them down. The material is never touched after that, so then it goes onto a ship, it arrives into port, then it's lifted off, put into storage, then it will eventually go on to either a rail wagon or a truck, and then eventually gets to market. So this really discusses the low investment required to just get that operation going in the first place. We see intermodality bringing a lot more flexibility to operations. You can have floating stock, flexibility in your supply chain. You can have local storage services, so you can get just in time when you want it, where you want it. And also, not to mention cost. Certainly compared to big bags and drums, and the cost of handling thereof, intermodality is certainly helping things there. and also the environment that I just mentioned. We had a problem in terms of InterBulk Group, as I say, moves around a lot of polymers around the world. Certainly in Europe, these markets are shrinking, and we're seeing the Middle East, for example, taking up a lot more of the capacity of producing polymers. So we're seeing a changing landscape, and we have to move with that landscape. So this has left us with some serious questions about what do we do with our current fleet of equipment. Now we have 20-foot and 30-foot box containers. We've got about 10,000 of those, and some of those are looking for extra things to do. Now, the discharge of polymer granules, so they discharge a lot more easily than, say, powders. All you have to do is tip it, and it'll put a bit of pressure on, and it'll eventually come out, and everything's fine. As soon as you try that with powders, though, you're going to get a problem. Powders will clump, they will stick. So this, from a technical, practical discharge point of view, customers would not particularly go for this, and that's been a bit of a technology gap for us, which we hope we have now filled. Just a bit about our technical products. We use a rotary valve to discharge these 20-foot and 30-foot box containers of polymer material. As I say, it's quite a quick, easy thing to do. We also have various different terminals where we decant materials from one form of transport into another, and this is a common thing. So this got us actually thinking about, can we use the initial good economics which is provided by box containers, and can we marry that to a technical solution that would help the customers at the end of the day? And as a group, we have good links into Clyde Blowers, who have a number of engineering companies and a lot of engineers that we can employ or call upon to help us out there. Our other solution is the Isovere, and we developed this back in 2003. We thought it was a great idea, and Rugby was our first customer with this. From a logistics standpoint, though, when you're moving great distances across the world in a tank container, you have to take that tank container back empty to its original source. So immediately, you know, as good and practical as it is, it has some issues, serious economic issues, which tend to outweigh any of the practical issues. So again, we were thinking, you know, how can we move this along? You know, we've got this great practical solution, but then the economics behind moving at great distances isn't really stacking up. So we looked at various things, other markets that we could get involved with InterBulk Technologies. And the Isovere, we've developed DNV units for rigs now, so that's a growth area for us. And we're looking more at supply chains loading seabulk from the likes of silo trucks as well. So as I say, there is a mixture of technology and economic issues at play here. So we have a good technology fit and performance. It's great for the storage and final discharge, but economically it's just not attractive. Whereas with the bag and box solution, it's a great economic idea, and it works very well, but the practicalities of giving that to a customer and having them discharge it isn't really working for us. So what we are proposing is to provide a mixed solution from faraway places in the world. So we could look at, say, India to Europe. And what we would actually do is use our European hubs. We have a number of terminals dotted around Europe. We would look to, the first stage, use a box container. So you're getting a ship's own box, filling it at source, taking it across the world, and then you're only paying a one-way trip for that. So you're giving the box straight back to the shipping company. We would then use our terminals to decant that material into either an isovair or a road tanker or other bulk method of delivery, and taking that to the customer, blowing it into a silo, or else actually dropping off the unit and giving them the isovair, and then they could have a ready-to-go silo. And this is a rapid, quick response. It also bridges the technology and economic gap, and we don't think anybody else is currently offering this. So, one-way cost advantages, low-cost storage option, saving in handling and labour costs, and maximising payloads. That is what the box and liner will do. And then the isovair, transfer at hub to local site, seamless discharge process, no tipping, perfectly safe to have on site, and it's definitely still low cost compared to fixed silos. So that we feel this will allow customers to enjoy both the practicalities of having something that works, plus the economic advantages throughout the logistics chain. Loads of ways of filling box containers, and we're quite adept at providing consultancy to people looking for help with that. You certainly very easily fill them from the top. You can have an auger, a device, some screw feeder. You can have blowers, belt drives, various lances, all providing a quick loading option. Our footprint, we are because we were in the chemical industry and we were moving around hazardous chemicals, it was very important for us to have a global network of offices, and actually owned offices around the world. So we're looking all around Europe, USA, South America. We're looking at other countries now. Well, we have made efforts in Brazil, Russia, emerging economies. India is a big focus now, and Australia. So we also have a number of agents which help us out, and we use their contacts as well. So really, we have some good connections around the world. And most importantly, we have some good terminals in Europe where we would actually be doing these transshipments. We have a new terminal in Duisburg at the heart of Europe, and we would see these terminals as good places to do transshipments and to then act as a hub and a delivery service to the various customers around these locations. As I say, Middle East and Russia is our new areas that we're looking to build terminal capacity and have partnerships there. So the products we're talking about, all cementitious products, cements, fly ash, mortars, plasters, hydrated lime, again, ferrous sulfates, additives, barite, bentonite, for instance. So we're looking at various different markets here, which are out of balance. We're looking at construction projects, major job sites, drilling projects. We're also looking at full train movements perhaps as well, which again then provides extra economic incentives. So we're starting as a temporary market necessity and building up to short build time requirements. with all the safety, sustainability, flexibility, product integrity and CO2 considerations which are at work there. Finally, some information about isovares. So we would propose this as the final delivery to the construction job sites or temporary silo storage. Ensures quick and clean discharge, is very robust, full train load options, and possible market expansion tools for companies involved in SCM supply. We think we're well suited to these markets. We have been involved in them for a long time. We have technical people who are very up to scratch. We have been moving these products certainly around Europe for a long time, and our culture is very geared towards quick agility. So we're already established, and we have relationships with customers, and we're in the deep sea regional business already, so we have good access to ports and to bulk shipping, or container ships, should I say. So what we're offering particularly is technology, logistics and technical support, and we think that we're quite a good option here. Rugby, or Cemex now, we're the company that started us off. They asked us to design the isovare for them, which we did back in 2003. We talked about key projects. The Heathrow Terminal 5 project was very environmentally, it was scrutinised. They didn't want any trucks on the M25, and they suggested using a logistics hub, which worked very well for them. Interestingly, they didn't use the same idea for the Olympics, but maybe they had it worked out better. Those original units are still in operation for Cemex today, so the products are now 9 years old and still standing up in nice Cemex colours. We've done work for Lafarge in the UK and North America. Some of the materials there mentioned: fly ash, cement, ferrous sulfate, slag, white cement and gypsum. We're also working for Wholesome. This is the Swiss Alps, the Seed Run project, which I think is the longest or deepest rail tunnel in the world. And we have a number of isovares currently going back and forward there for Wholesome. New projects for us are in the oil industry. We have a partnership with MI Swaco, who have just been bought by Schlumberger. They produce, or they do a lot of service work for the oil majors, and we're well positioned with them in an exclusive agreement for oil industry projects, which tend to be a lot more profitable than standard logistics. So we're quite happy to be in that space now. So very quickly, we have some strong economic drivers for a full intermodal mixed solution. There are very strong environmental and sustainability drivers there as well. Add that to supply chain issues caused by consolidation, things moving greater distances to market, and the isovare is definitely proven. It's robust and it's a durable piece of kit. So we don't think that there are any other people matching this offer or have even really thought about this offer. So I'd just be very pleased to discuss these ideas with anybody here who may think that this actually has some legs. So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Oh, Dean, not so quick, not so quick. Are there any questions from the floor?
I have one very quick question. Maybe I missed it, but if you're if you're shipping intercontinentally, you're bringing the bag-in-box containers,
Yeah.
for example, into Duisburg or one of the other major ports,
Yeah.
and you're transshipping there into the ISO bays.
Yes, at our leisure, at our terminal.
Right. So at that point, you have to transship from the bag-in-box into local silos, or can you do it directly into the ISO bays?
There's various ways that you can do it. At the moment, you saw the big tipping platforms there, and there was a road tanker underneath. Well, we would use similar concept to that, so it's a mixture of tipping and pressure and various moving things around. So
Right, and do you also have the option of blowing from the bag-in-box into local silos, or are you not offering local storage?
we can offer storage or just-in-time storage at our terminals in box containers, but at some point it would need to be transshipped. We do have a fluidizing liner for our box containers, but it's all a bit slow in terms of if somebody is used to a road tanker turning up, blowing into a silo, that will probably take about half an hour to an hour to discharge, whereas it's going to be a lot slower with our bag-in-box. But seeing as that's all in our premises, then the customer doesn't actually have to worry about that.
Right, which is a partial answer to the next question I was going to ask. You did actually say at the beginning that the bag-in-box solution was not an ideal solution for supplementary cementitious materials for the powders.
Yeah.
Is that because is that only because it takes longer to discharge them from the bag-in-box?
Essentially, yes.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason.
That's the only reason.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Yes, please. Give us your name and company.
Yeah, Ian Cotton from Cenex. Is there a general rule of thumb, distance? You mentioned that the ISO has become uneconomic over a certain distance because you've got to take them back empty. Is there a general rule of thumb, or is it individual cases and what you carry?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on what country you're looking at, and how the infrastructure is set up, what kind of rail services they have, how good or how commercial minded the rail companies are in these places. For instance, in the UK, it's considered to be about 200 miles. Anything kind of under that or over that is the cut-off, whereas you can go to Russia and it'll be 1,500 kilometres because they've got a train going back and forward. So suddenly that begins to work. So it really does depend on specific
each case
dynamics. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions or points? Okay, Dean, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.